roast your coffee gently with those beans. Merrily, merrily, merrily roast. Life is but a dream. Hello and welcome to another episode of Merrily Roasting with me, Francis Peck. What I now find essential in my roasting process is actually also tasting the unroasted beans to know where they are coming from flavor wise. Now to do that, we're preparing a green coffee bean extract. So we need to grind the beans without them having been roasted, which of course they are super hard. For this showcase we have beans from Thailand, my chedi, anaerobic white honey. Interesting promise there. So the processing was anaerobic white honey. I've never had coffee like this before, so that makes me very excited. Okay, so just do a recipe with 10 grams. Yes, and then we'll try to grind them with the kitchen robot here. Now be patient, even though it's just a minor amount of beans, it takes quite a bit of work to get them ground. Sometimes helps to let it stop and go again so that they hit the bottom before you try to smash them again. Okay, so normally, you see this is still quite a coarse ground, considering. But the important thing is really just to be able to get a taste. Like this. Okay, you see the light green color. Okay, not too much water, of course, we're only working with 10 grams. And what you then also want to do is really agitate it. Ideally, if you get a very fine ground, that would maybe not be necessary, but given that they are processed this way, just a bit of extra agitation to try and extract as much of the original flavors as possible. So we're then just going to let this sit for 5 minutes and have a taste. What do we have in here? Let's have a look. this smells. Okay, a deep, dark beverage, the unroasted French press coffee. Now this has been oxidizing for a few days, and the dark color is actually testimony to the amount of antioxidants inside, but they've been consumed, so I'm not going to try it out. We're about a half year after I got my first bigger batch of green coffee from my preferred dealer Cooport in the Netherlands. So I can kind of now have an overview of what it's costing me, at least for my personal use. Back then I paid 60 euros about for 7 kilos of coffee. In the meantime, I also did have with the Illy Eureka Mignon, what was that, 6 boxes of 250 grams of coffee that went for about 30 euros. And now I went for the Cooport Premium Direct Trade Selection. That was 50 euros for 5 kilos of green beans. If this will last me another half year, then well, it's a good 100 euros of green coffee to cover my personal consumption and a little bit of selling on the side for few to non-profit really. But now let's have a look what the premium selection is. Okay. There we go. So, information on their coffee, as was it packed also last time. Next to the selection, I actually also ordered a kilo of India Robusta beans. It was recommended by the Firenze roaster that we had the video on a few weeks ago, to go for India when you're taking Robusta, and also to include a bit of Robusta for your espresso blends, which is a very custom thing to do, as it produces a lot of carbon dioxide during the roast. So now for the premium selection, we have from Congo, Raik Katana. Can we see what? I assume all the rest will be Arabica. Yes, Arabica GBM. That's one. Then we have from Thailand, anaerobic white honey, my chidi. So what is That's the processing. The variant is Chiang Mai. Okay. I guess Arabica. Then a kilo of Brazil, Capricornio, natural fermentation. Okay, and that's red and yellow bourbon. Okay, so that should be Arabica. It's quite a different selection than what it was the first time around. So of course, as I'm still exploring this, it's very interesting. Indonesia. I've been curious about this one. From a single farm lot, direct trade, and the coffee bean is in Reken Karangan washed. So yes, Arabica typica. And then last one. This is just a fun process, just discovering what you actually bought from Peru. Finca. Okay, so that's a micro lot direct trade Arabica washed. So we have kind of different processing methods, different varieties, just a good starting point for another half year or less of fun with coffee beans. Here we are again, 5 minutes later. How does this smell? I guess a vegetable soup of some sorts. And then let's just get the grind file blocked on the bottom. Get a shot glass. So you see, very light on color, but if you let this sit a day, it gets quite a dark green color. So it is filled with antioxidants. Now this one had the anaerobic processing. Let's see how it tastes. Beans, green beans, you know, well, you would have with some fish or something. Definitely tastes very healthy. Now, as I go to actually roast these beans, I have some kind of reference point to how the original taste was. Another question you could ask is, how does it taste when you mix it with some leftover cold Brazilian lightly roasted coffee? And it totally covers the greenness of the unroasted one, only very lightly in the background. Yet I do remember from some of my roasting experiments that this vegetable notes that I'm able to pick up in the pure extract I do remember tasting that when you very lightly roast your beans. So it might be a flavor you want to avoid, Coffee drinkers in general don't like it, but health-wise, it might be interesting. Enjoy.